welcome back. Cars. Ah! It's okay. Track 3. So, 8 more of these left. This one included. This will take some time to get through. Hopefully we'll do it this episode, though. Ooh, suspension actually works. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not the button to move. I picked up my nunchuck and tried to use it. Yeah, I cannot see as well what the situation is here. Does my suspension actually do stuff? I didn't notice my suspension on the other cars. I'll get out of first person in a second, but yeah, it feels like I actually have a different experience a little bit in first person here with the suspension actually doing stuff. That's an interesting detail. I wonder if there are actual gameplay differences between the different vehicles. I always got the impression it was purely cosmetic. Ah, this car does the... Do the others do that too? That thing where you turn a little bit or you turn a lot, and there's just no real... Oh, this one doesn't even have laps. That's interesting. Okay, I got a little bit of a late start. Ah, see, you turn a little bit or you turn all the way, which really messes me up. The suspension's a little ridiculous. Look how wide those wheels splay out when I land. Yeah, does only this car do that? Or did I just not notice the other cars doing it? Or there's just no medium between turning a little bit and turning really hard. See? I was gently moving the remote there the whole time, and yet it just all of a sudden turns really hard and just jerks to the side. This is a vicious fight between the two of us. Ah! You see that? That guy pulled a pit on me. I just got pit maneuvered. That was actually a fully successful pit maneuver. That is not something I expected to see happen. I guess that guy won that fight. I didn't think they'd pull out something that dirty. Are you intending to turn? No? Okay. Every time, I need to try another vehicle and see if the other vehicles do this, because I didn't notice the other vehicles doing this. Get out of my way. Oh. Stop. Jeez, these guys are weirdly aggressive. And the game doesn't explain if the different vehicles actually play differently in any way or not, so I don't know if they do. But I definitely noticed the weird handling on this one. Maybe the other cars didn't do that. Ow. I'm not liking it. Sound at the end. Okay. That was a little troublesome. Okay, not the buggy this time. See if that makes a difference. No, this one has this one's much heavier. No, this one doesn't too. It does feel heavier, but it's not as bad about the whole, like, turning a little or turning a lot thing. It still does, but not as bad. That's interesting. They do actually control differently. I never noticed the street vehicles in the city controlling differently, but these ones do. I wish it would tell you how they're different, but here we are. Also driving directly into the sun, that's nice. And our windshield's probably polarized and whatnot. So it might not be too bad for Granny inside the car, but we're not inside the car. I wonder if you can drive over the stairs there. Hit that turn a little late. Ah. Yeah, sometimes you do just land and then all of a sudden the car is turning 100%. I guess the top speed on this thing's 100 miles per hour. It doesn't feel that fast for a race, but whatever. That's more like it. Yeah, even going downhill you slow back down to that speed if you exceed it. Yeah, this is not nice. Just driving directly into the sun. Yeah, not having ridiculous sun glare is one of those acceptable breaks from reality I think that most games have. The more realistic you make the experience of staring into the sun, the worse your game is. Whenever you have to move towards that sun. And usually people don't even notice those sorts of details either if you don't have them. They don't notice them missing. Like, so you've probably seen some game that's in space, for instance. Like, you fly around the sun. What happened there? You fly around the sun, you see the sun, you look at a star or whatever, like you fly by a star. You never really thought to yourself, most likely, that looking at that star should be equivalent to looking, like, at the sun from here on Earth. I'm assuming that my viewers are on Earth. Apologies if you're not. Looking at the sun on Earth like this is a pretty accurate experience, aside from not being blinded after doing so. Whereas you look at a star in a video game, like you could be on the surface of that star and it's like some orange stuff. It's not actually that bright. Alright. These are much longer races than I'd expect, too. Of course, that happens when they have laps. A lot of race for very little track. Oh no! Well, rally car it is. I'll try the second vehicle, too. I think I'm done with the Buggy, though, to be honest. That thing's too light. I want more that aren't circuits, though. No, the races that are actually just from point A to point B. I think I prefer those a good deal. Probably because they're shorter. But they're also less repetitive. Nope, that's the wrong way. Thank you, thank you. This is not the faster way to go. Yeah, I've seen very few games where it's viable to race backwards. Well, one of them was Hot Wheels Turbo Racing. I think there was a licensed game for the film Cars all those years ago, where driving backwards was also a viable tactic. I can't think of any other games on the top of my head where driving backwards at full speed was a valid way to complete a race, though. This is not one of them. Speaking of rubber banding again, see, if this was a more real race, there's no way I would have caught up just now. After having driven backwards over the ridge. Yeah, going up this bridge, it's very narrow, so it's a little uncomfortable. Yeah, sometimes you land in the game and just decides you're turning now. Or you even leave the ground and the game does it as you're in the air. Yeah, you can see my first lap was a little slow. Yeah, that one guy always gets third, I feel like. I'm amused that he's here though. It's a nice little bit of continuity in the game universe. Little things like that can make a big difference. Like in, so speaking of driving games, in Hot Wheels Stunt Track Challenge, one thing that entertained me quite a lot was you never saw any of them in person or anything, but all your opponents in that game. And the idea was that it was a big, yeah, this thing's maybe even a little bit heavier. Yeah, this thing's not as bad about that turning issue I keep mentioning with the Buggy. I might actually keep using this one. But in that game, the idea was you had a bunch of events where you'd get points, and you also had races. In the races, you'd actually go up directly against your opponents. And that way you could actually figure out who's who. Like, which names... We all had names. Which names had, which names would drove which vehicles. Stuff like that. And all the other events were completely solo. You were just competing against whoever scores everyone else got. And they were actually somewhat randomly generated, which was interesting, I thought. But one thing was, you would always get to see the standings of everybody, like everybody's names, every single time you completed an event. And then you also got to encounter them kind of in person, so to speak, in the sense of like seeing their vehicles and interacting with them, racing against them in the races. And just that little bit, just having names attached to that, and actually being told, here are the standings, actually helped a lot, I think. Just create the feeling like, hey, there are actually other individuals here. And I would, when I played the game on this channel, I ended up making lots of fun make-believe stuff based on a couple different characters that were just names in those standings. Otherwise, you only needed a certain score to progress in each event. Your opponents having standings didn't actually have much influence on the game at all. Strictly speaking, you needed the best score overall to 100% the game, but you'd usually have that if you didn't get the very bare minimum of the score in each event. Like the main thing in the game was just getting the required places in the races, and then getting the required scores in the mini games, and not actually competing against your opponents directly. So they could have left out the standings entirely. There could have been no leaderboard in that game whatsoever, and the game would have been basically the same thing. But for me, there was just a little bit of magic. Also, this is the Phantom Wheel car. How could I not drive the Phantom Wheel car? I'll keep using this one. But there's just a little bit of magic in that game, and that one little detail to me. Little details can make a world of difference, at least for some people like me. And one of the reasons I like this series of games, these three, Whiskey and Snowboard and Whiskey and Go Vacation. Oh, yay. Straight race. One of the reasons I like it so much is because it has a lot of those kinds of details. I notice this one feels like it's missing some more of those kinds of details than its predecessors, especially here on the mountain, where you see buildings like where there's just no way in and stuff like that. That does bum me out a little bit. We keep driving past that rock in all of our races. Wait. Hey! This is unsportsmanlike. Oh jeez, we're in there. Alright. Yeah, unfortunately, on shorter races like this one, if you mess up, you don't have much you can do to recover compared to the lapped races. So there's a little bit of disappointment for me on some of those details missing here. But there's still quite enough of it that I enjoyed a lot. Like seeing the guy that you talk to start the race, saying he'll be in the race, and actually, indeed, being one of your opponents in the race. As you can see when you see everyone in the standings after you finish the race. Little details like that make a world of difference to me. Get back here. Alright, let me check the number of episodes. I think, yeah, this is supposed to be the last episode I recorded this week. We still have 3 more to do, though. I might just do them now. I'd rather finish this now. Hopefully these won't take long. I may be wrong. So this might end up being a good few minutes over time. Hopefully fewer rather than more. Right, so straightaway races like this one could be over quickly if I don't mess them up the first time. Or it'd take a long time if I keep messing them up. We'll have to see. It is kind of cool getting to explore this area though. Like the same mountain that I've been doing all this stuff on up until now. In a different vehicle. And later I'll get to do it in a paraglider too. Which will also be a nice new perspective on that. Yeah, this is a very uncomfortable course, jeez. Jeez. Wait, we actually start suspended up on a road. That's interesting. I didn't notice that. That guy always gets third. Why is it always third? This guy's just destined to be third. Is he doing it on purpose? I can make a whole story for this guy if I wanted, but I don't feel like it. We're winding downwards this time. This reminds me of some of the more windy, like serpent courses in the ski games, actually. I'm not getting great on turning this time. Yeah, this one still turns a bit more than I like it sometimes, but it's not that bad. If I remember right, I think if I actually did manage to successfully memorize those numbers like I said I would, totally sarcastically, I think race 9 is laps, but 10 is not. So this next one will be a little bit longer. Oh no, that was number 9. Never mind. Forget everything I said. Alright, number 10. Ooh. No, this one does nothing. No, it has lap. Never mind. I saw the fence behind myself and thought it was a dead end. So that wasn't going to be a circuit, but nope, it's a circuit. That also means, though, it's a bit easier for me, in my experience so far. Messing up once or twice isn't a big deal because I can just catch back up. Unless it's at the very end. Whereas the straightaways, they're faster, but the non-map races, that is. They're faster, but you have to be a bit more perfect. Oh, actually driving around the... Oh, that's interesting. Why in the world would I do that? I guess I get a bigger turning radius if I do that. Oh, this is different. Ooh! Oh, this isn't gonna work. Well, I can see how I saved this for last. That's pretty cool. I appreciate that. You did save a pretty cool course for last. There we go. Hopefully I'm not going to keep having trouble on those jumps, but even if I do... Oh, that was a misunderstanding. Even if I do, though, I had plenty of time to catch back up afterwards, so it's probably not that big a deal. I like how my top speed's basically the exact same thing, whether I'm going up or down a hill or whatever. It's like my wheels only turn at a certain fixed maximum speed, but they produce infinite torque. And I have perfect grip on the ground, which is definitely not the case, I can say, being the one to experience controlling this vehicle. Okay, so let's not do the big jump this time. Or drop, more like. You have to kind of thread the needle there, but yeah, that seems a bit better to me. Hooked up wall. Invisible walls being weird to me. Yeah, see, when I don't turn enough, usually what's happening is I'm trying to not turn too much. Like, medium turns are the hardest ones to do, because hard ones I just turn as hard as I can. Medium ones, if I turn too much, well, I'll turn too much. I'll just suddenly start turning a lot. Little ones I just turn a little bit, like I'm doing now. But medium turns, there's no way to do it right, because I either don't turn enough or I turn way too much. Okay, and the pack is a little bit spread out this time around. A little bit more than usual. Looking back on the mini-map. I appreciate that this is actually a fairly different experience from driving in the city, though. And these are very different courses. I will say this is probably a bit more enjoyable just because it's a lot more varied. See, look at that! It's a pretty noticeable jerk when I suddenly start turning more. Wonderful. That's exactly how I'd want to do those jumps. Sorry, I hit the microphone trying to correct a turn. I think we're about done. Wonderful. Yeah, that was the longest one by far. Adverts. Lots of brand names do you see in this game. Alright. Same guy got third as always. So that's everything here then, I believe. Don't wear me out. And now we head back to our resting spot. Wow! Why is there a horse here? Seriously, who invited the horse? I didn't drive here in a horse. I'm not gonna drive away in a horse. Where'd the horse come from? No. I wonder if that would happen. I don't know why that gave me a trophy. It seems kind of arbitrary. No. Seems kind of arbitrary. I forgot that my nunchuck was not connected. We're gonna take the fast way down, I guess. See if we can beat our record for rotations here. This is a place I'd like to be in first person if I could be. So you can see this in first person. Nope, not rotating as fast this time, I don't think. We're picking up speed. Yeah! Yeah, still a bit too many G's when you land, though. Just blacks out for a little bit. Granny's made of tougher stuff than that, though. She can come back after a few seconds, I guess. Right, get used to this, because we're going to be doing a lot more of it in coming episodes, because we have rafting and other such things to do, I think, next. I think we'll finish, probably, with the shooting range. When we do the minigames that remain. But somehow, it doesn't feel like there's... I don't know. It feels to me like we'll be able to get to the remaining minigames pretty quickly. Because I somehow feel like we're pretty much done with this area by now. Could be wrong. It felt like in the other two areas it took us a while to finish the minigames, especially... Well, on the beach we had the entirety of the diving minigame, which was like a resort of its own, practically, in terms of stuff to do. Like, how many episodes did we spend in the diving minigame? Like, I think it was a real heck of a lot, actually. It was at least like 20, if not more. Get out of my way. Let's run people over, bro. Alright. Hey, can I like run up to this boat and just board it from my own kayak like a pirate? Get back here. Granny's taking over. Don't run. Back. Let's get him on the inside, not the outside. I probably could. Get going, Granny. Yes! Alright, you still have things to say? Nothing? It's weird. One of the reasons I wanted to be on this boat was because they have narration, but whatever. Well, this is Granny's ship now. Remember, Granny's a pirate, too. Oh, dog beat me there, apparently. Good job, Chibi. Yeah. Huh, I don't know what determines whether or not you actually... Oh, there we go.
Guests who are transferring to kayaks or using the mountain railway should disembark here.
I guess I'll do that. You gotta stop for a second. You gotta stop. You gotta stop. Please stop. There we go. There you go. Wonderful. Alright. And I guess Chibi's already here to meet back up with us. Chibi, get over here. Just standing there. There you are. So, taking count. This is a double-length episode. Oh well. Well, we also have paragliding to do. I might do that next instead. And then there's the water stuff and shooting. Okay. Alright, that was an interesting experience. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any, like, big minigame here. I feel like in the city, there wasn't really much in the way of, like, any big minigame. There was, of course, the whole debacle with dancing, which I still have to somehow figure out. But I felt like there were a lot of minigames here that took a long time. The minigames here feel smaller. Yeah, but I got a key for it. Alright, come on, GB. I think it's actually a station, but whatever. Nope, I gotta hold a button to make the camera be what it should be. TV says bye too. Everyone.